The airplane
Oh,
was
come on,
high in
buddy.
the
Please stop
sky,
crying.
moving
Here, let me try
slowly
with
through
the toy.
thick
Thank you
white
so much.
clouds.
There we go. All
Inside the
better.
plane, everything looked perfect. Soft lights, quiet music, expensive seats. But one sound broke the peace. A baby was crying. Not a normal cry, not a soft cry. It was loud, painful, nonstop. The baby sat in first class, in the arms of a powerful billionaire. He wore a clean black suit. His watch was worth more than most people's houses. But right now, none of that mattered. The baby kept crying. Minutes passed. 10 minutes. 20 minutes. The baby did not stop. Passengers started to look around. Some rolled their eyes. Some whispered with anger. "This is first class," one man said quietly. "We paid for silence." A flight attendant came fast. She smiled, but her eyes showed worry. She tried everything. Milk, a soft toy, gentle rocking. Nothing worked. The baby cried louder. The billionaire's hands started shaking. He looked down at his child, his face full of fear. He had money. He had power. He had control over everything in his life. Except this. The baby screamed again. A woman across the aisle covered her ears. Another man stood up, angry. "Do something," he shouted. The billionaire lowered his head. For the first time, he felt small. Then the plane shook. Turbulence. The baby screamed, even louder. That was when the camera slowly moved away from first class and went to the back of the plane. In economy class, there sat a poor black elderly woman. She wore old clothes. Her shoes were worn out. Her hands showed years of hard work. She sat quietly. Her eyes were closed, but she was listening. Every cry of the baby touched her heart. She slowly opened her eyes. She did not look angry. She did not look annoyed. She looked concerned. People around her noticed her staring. One young man whispered, "Why is she looking like that?" The elderly woman stood up slowly. A flight attendant rushed to her. "Ma'am, please sit down," the attendant said. The woman did not argue. She did not raise her voice. She simply said, "That baby is not crying for attention." The flight attendant froze. The elderly woman continued, "That baby is crying from pain." People laughed quietly. "What does she know?" someone said. She was poor. She was old. She was black. People judged her in seconds. But she did not care. She started walking forward, step by step. The baby cried again, louder than before. The billionaire looked up. His eyes met hers. For a moment, time stopped. The elderly woman looked straight at him and said calmly, "Sir, may I see the baby?" The flight attendant gasped. Passengers whispered loudly, "Is she serious? This is crazy. She should sit down." Security started moving. The billionaire held his baby tighter. His heart was racing. He looked at his child. The baby's face was red. Tears covered his cheeks. His small body shook with every cry. The billionaire swallowed hard. Doctors had failed. Nurses had failed. Money had failed. The elderly woman stood there, waiting. No fear in her eyes. Only care. The plane shook again. The baby screamed. The billionaire made a choice. One that would change everything. And as the elderly woman reached out her hands, no one on that plane knew this poor old woman was about to do something that would shock everyone. The billionaire did not answer the old woman right away. He looked down at his baby. The crying did not stop. It grew deeper, louder, like the sound was coming from somewhere far inside the child. The billionaire's jaw tightened. To the world, he was a man with everything. Private jets, big houses, famous friends. But inside that plane, he felt empty, very empty. The baby cried again, and the sound pulled him back into the past. 2 years ago, a quiet hospital room, white walls, cold lights. His wife lay still on the bed. Doctors spoke in soft voices, but their words hit hard. She didn't make it. The billionaire remembered holding his newborn baby for the first time. The baby did not cry then. The baby was silent, too silent. Since that day, the crying never stopped. Every night, every morning, doctors said the baby was healthy. Specialists found nothing wrong. Money opened every door, but none of the doors led to peace. The baby cried at home, in the car, on boats, on planes, and now here. The billionaire lifted his head. People were watching him, some with anger, some with blame. He felt their judgment. They saw a rich man who could not control his child. They did not see the father who had not slept in months. They did not see the man who still spoke to his wife's picture every night. The baby screamed again. The old woman stood quietly in front of him. She did not rush him. She did not demand. She waited. The billionaire finally spoke. His voice was low. "He has been like this since birth," he said. The old woman nodded slowly. "I know," she replied. That answer surprised him. Security stepped closer. The flight attendant looked nervous. "How do you know?" the billionaire asked. The old woman's eyes softened. "Because I have heard this cry before," she said. The plane felt suddenly quiet. Passengers leaned forward. The old woman looked away, toward the window. "I once held a baby who cried like this," she continued. No one could calm him. Her hand shook slightly. "I lost that baby." A heavy silence filled the air. The billionaire felt something move inside his chest. Pain, recognized pain. The baby cried again. The old woman stepped closer. "This is not fear," she said gently. "This is not hunger." She pointed softly at the baby's chest. "This is discomfort," she whispered. The billionaire looked at his child more carefully now. The tight fists, the stiff body, the shallow breathing. He had seen these signs before. Doctors dismissed them. Colic, normal crying. He will grow out of it. But what if they were wrong? The old woman looked up at him. "You are flying to escape," she said. The billionaire's eyes widened. "You think distance will help?" she continued. "But pain travels with you." The baby screamed again. Passengers shifted uncomfortably. Some looked ashamed now. The billionaire took a deep breath. "Everyone I trust has failed him," he said quietly. "I don't know what else to do." The old woman raised her hands slowly. They were rough. "Old. Kind. Let me try," she said. Security hesitated. The flight attendant whispered, "Sir." The billionaire closed his eyes. He remembered the hospital, the silence, the promise he made to his wife. "I will protect our child." He opened his eyes. He looked at the old woman, then at his baby, then back at her. The plane shook lightly. The baby cried louder. The billionaire made his decision. "Give her space," he said. Gasps filled the cabin. The old woman stepped forward. Her hands moved closer to the crying child. And in that moment, no one on that plane knew. This was not just about calming a baby. This was the beginning of a truth that would change all of their lives. The old woman stood in the aisle of the plane. People stared at her, some with doubt, some with fear, some with quiet shame. Moments ago, she was invisible, just another poor black woman sitting in economy class. Now, every eye was on her. She did not rush. She did not shake. She stood like someone who had carried pain for a long time and survived. The baby cried again. The sound echoed through the cabin. The old woman closed her eyes for a short moment. That cry took her back. Many years ago, a small house with cracked walls, a single bed, no air conditioning, no silence. She remembered holding a tiny baby in her arms. Her baby, night after night, the crying never stopped. Neighbors complained. Doctors came and left. They said, "He will be fine." But he was not. One night, the crying suddenly stopped. Too suddenly. She never forgot that sound. Now, standing on this plane, she heard the same cry again. Her eyes opened slowly. "This baby is not angry," she said softly. "This baby is asking for help." Some passengers laughed. A man whispered, "She thinks she knows better than doctors." Another woman shook her head. "What can an old poor woman do?" The old woman heard them. She had heard worse all her life. She took one small step forward. Security moved again, but the billionaire raised his hand. "Wait," he said. The word surprised everyone, even him. The old woman looked at the billionaire. Not at his suit, not at his money. She looked at his eyes. She saw a tired father, a broken man. "Sir," she said gently, "I am not here to take your child." Her voice was calm. "I am here to listen to him." The baby screamed again. The old woman tilted her head slightly, like she was listening to a song only she could hear. She began to speak quietly. "When babies cry like this," she said, "they're telling a story." The billionaire frowned. "What story?" he asked. "A story of discomfort," she replied. "A story of something being wrong, but no one understanding." The flight attendant swallowed hard. Passengers leaned closer. The old woman slowly rolled up her sleeve. On her arm were faded marks. Old hospital marks. old needle scars. I was a caregiver once, she said. Not in big hospitals. In homes no one visited. The billionaire's eyes widened slightly. She continued, I raised children who were not mine. Children doctors gave up on. The baby cried harder. She lifted one finger. Listen to the rhythm, she said. The pauses. The way he tightens his body. The billionaire looked again. For the first time, he truly looked. He noticed the baby's back arching. The stiff legs. The uneven breath. Something clicked. No doctor had ever explained this to him. You see, she asked softly. The billionaire nodded without realizing it. The old woman took another step closer. Passengers stopped whispering. The plane felt heavy with silence. My name is Ruth, she said. But most people just call me Mama. She smiled gently. I have nothing to sell you, Mama Ruth said. No money. No medicine. She looked at the baby again. I only have experience and love. The baby cried again. But this time it was different. Shorter. Weaker. Mama Ruth felt it. Her heart tightened. He is tired, she whispered. And so are you. The billionaire's eyes filled with tears. He turned his face away, embarrassed. Mama Ruth reached out slowly. She did not touch the baby yet. She waited. Permission mattered. The billionaire looked at her hand. Rough. Aged. Real. He thought of his wife's hands. Warm. Kind. He nodded. Mama Ruth moved closer. And as her hands hovered over the crying child, the cabin held its breath. Because deep down, everyone felt it. This moment was not normal. This moment was about to change something. And no one was ready. For what would happen next? The entire airplane was silent. No talking. No moving. Only the baby's cry filled the air. Sharp. Tired. Broken. Mama Ruth stood close now. Her hands were steady. The billionaire looked at her one last time. This was not trust built by words. This was trust built by pain. Slowly, he loosened his arms. The baby cried louder as Mama Ruth gently took him. Gasps spread through the cabin. A security guard stepped forward, then stopped. Something about the way she held the child made everyone pause. Mama Ruth did not rush. She did not panic. She held the baby close to her chest, skin to skin, like she had done 1,000 times before. The baby screamed again. Mama Ruth leaned her head down. She did not speak at first. She listened. Then she began to hum. A low old song. A song without words. A song from long ago. The sound was soft, but strong. The baby's cry began to change. Not stop. Change. The sharp screams became shorter. Mama Ruth gently adjusted the baby's body. She turned him slightly, supported his back, lifted his head just a little. Her movements were careful, intentional. The billionaire watched closely. So did everyone else. Mama Ruth placed 2 fingers softly on the baby's chest, then moved them slowly to his side. She pressed gently. The baby let out one long cry, then another, then silence. Complete silence. The cry stopped. The baby's body relaxed. His fists opened. His breathing slowed. A soft sound came from his mouth. A sigh. The cabin froze. No one moved. No one breathed. Mama Ruth continued humming. The baby's eyes closed. He fell asleep. Just like that. After months of nonstop crying, the billionaire dropped to his knees. His hands covered his face. Tears streamed through his fingers. He was not crying as a rich man. He was crying as a father. Passengers stared in shock. Some mouths hung open. Others wiped their eyes. The flight attendant whispered, "Oh my God." Mama Ruth looked at the sleeping baby. She smiled sadly. He was in pain, she said softly. Not loud. Not angry. She looked at the billionaire. He just needed to be held the right way. The billionaire looked up at her. His voice shook. How, he asked. How did you do that? Mama Ruth gently rocked the baby. There are small things doctors forget, she said. They see charts. I see bodies. She gently turned the baby's head. His position was wrong, she explained. He was uncomfortable. His body was fighting itself. The baby slept peacefully. Not a sound. The billionaire stood slowly. He reached out, careful, afraid to break the moment. Mama Ruth handed the baby back. The baby did not cry. He stayed asleep. The billionaire held his child like it was the first time. Like a miracle. The plane suddenly felt different. Lighter. A woman in first class began to clap. Slow, soft, then another, and another. Soon, the cabin filled with applause. Mama Ruth looked down. She did not smile. She did not bow. She turned to go back to her seat. But the billionaire stopped her. Please, he said. Don't go yet. She turned. He looked at her with red eyes. My child has not slept like this since birth, he said. You didn't just stop his crying. He swallowed hard. You saved him. Mama Ruth shook her head slowly. I only listened, she said. She looked at the sleeping baby one more time. Then she said something that changed the air again. This will not be the last time he needs help. The billionaire froze. What do you mean? He asked. Mama Ruth's eyes grew serious. This was only the beginning, she said. And just like that, the miracle on the plane became a warning. The baby slept quietly in the billionaire's arms. For the first time since birth, the billionaire did not move. He was afraid. Afraid that if he breathed too hard, the baby would wake up and start crying again. Mama Ruth stood beside him. Her face was calm, but her eyes were heavy. You said this was only the beginning, the billionaire said softly. What did you mean? Mama Ruth looked around the cabin. Everyone was listening now, even those who once laughed. This baby carries more than discomfort, she said slowly. He carries memory. The billionaire frowned. Memory? He asked. Yes, she replied. Pain remembered by the body. She sat down across from him, still speaking softly. When a baby is born during loss, she said, the body feels it, even if the mind does not. The billionaire's chest tightened. He thought of the hospital, the machines, the silence. The moment his wife's hand went cold. The baby felt your fear, Mama Ruth continued. Your grief, your panic. The billionaire looked down at his sleeping child. Tears filled his eyes again. I tried to be strong, he whispered. I didn't want him to feel my pain. Mama Ruth nodded. But pain does not need words, she said. It travels through touch, through breath. Passengers listened in complete silence. Mama Ruth leaned forward. Doctors look for sickness, she said. But some wounds are not sickness. The billionaire swallowed. So what happens now? He asked. Will the crying come back? Mama Ruth did not answer right away. She reached in her small bag. She pulled out a folded piece of paper. Old, worn. She handed it to him. The billionaire opened it. Inside were simple notes. Handwritten. Positions. Holding methods. Breathing rhythms. This helped many babies, she said. Babies no one else understood. The billionaire looked at her in shock. You wrote this? He asked. She nodded. After I lost my child, she said quietly. I promised I would listen better next time. A woman nearby wiped her tears. A man lowered his head in shame. The billionaire's voice shook. Why didn't you tell doctors? He asked. Mama Ruth smiled sadly. They don't ask people like me, she said. And people like me stop knocking. That sentence hit the cabin like thunder. The billionaire felt something break inside him. He had flown past suffering all his life. Never stopped to see it. He looked at Mama Ruth again. Stay, he said suddenly. Please. She raised an eyebrow. I don't mean here, he continued quickly. I mean help us. Security stiffened. The flight attendant looked confused. Mama Ruth studied him. Help is not ownership, she said. And I don't belong to anyone. I know, he replied. I'm asking, not buying. That word changed everything. Mama Ruth nodded slowly. I will help, she said. But only if you listen. I will, he said without hesitation. The baby shifted slightly. Everyone froze. But the baby stayed asleep. Mama Ruth smiled. He trusts now, she said. But trust must be protected. The billionaire held his child closer. What I need to do? He asked. Mama Ruth spoke clearly. Slow down, she said. Hold him with calm. Stop running. The billionaire nodded. He had run from pain with money, with travel, with silence. Now he understood. The plane began its descent. Lights blinked softly. Mama Ruth stood up. This journey is not over, she said. It has just changed direction. The billionaire looked at her. For both of us, he said. She gave a small smile. And in that moment, the truth became clear. The baby's crying was never the problem. It was the message. And now, someone had finally listened. The plane landed smoothly. But inside the billionaire's heart, nothing was calm. The baby still slept in his arms. Peaceful, quiet, a miracle he never thought he would see. Passengers began to stand. Some looked at Mama Ruth with new eyes, not as a poor woman, but as someone powerful. The billionaire stood slowly. He waited. He let everyone pass. When the aisle was clear, he turned to Mama Ruth. "Please," he said again, "walk with me." She looked at him for a long moment. Then she nodded. As they stepped off the plane, the world outside felt loud. Cameras flashed. People stared. Someone whispered his name. The billionaire ignored them all. He stopped near a quiet corner of the airport. Security formed a loose circle. Mama Ruth stood calmly. "This is where we part," she said. The billionaire shook his head. "No," he replied. "This is where I ask you something." He took a deep breath. "I want you to come with us," he said. "Not as help. Not as staff." Mama Ruth raised an eyebrow. "Then as what?" she asked. "As family," he said. The word hung heavy in the air. Security gasped. The flight attendant from the plane covered her mouth. Mama Ruth did not react. She studied him carefully. "Family is not charity," she said, "and it is not comfort." "I know," he replied quickly. "That's why I'm scared to ask." The baby stirred, but did not cry. Mama Ruth smiled softly. "You are changing," she said. "I can see it." The billionaire nodded. "I've spent my life controlling everything," he admitted. "But I couldn't control this." He looked at his child. "I don't want to fail him." Mama Ruth crossed her arms. "And what happens when the crying returns?" she asked. The billionaire did not hesitate. "Then I learn again," he said. The answer surprised even him. Mama Ruth looked away. Her eyes glistened. "You remind me of someone," she said quietly. "Who?" he asked. "A man who loved too late," she replied. Silence settled between them. The billionaire swallowed. "I won't make that mistake," he said. Mama Ruth sighed. "I am old," she said. "I'm tired. I won't ask forever," he replied. "Just until he is strong." She looked at the baby. Her hands twitched slightly. "I don't need your money," she said. "I know," he replied. "And I won't use it." He reached into his pocket, then stopped himself. Instead, he bowed his head slightly, a gesture no one had ever seen him make. "I need your wisdom," he said. People nearby watched in disbelief. This was not the man they knew. Mama Ruth exhaled slowly. "I will come," she said, "but on my terms." The billionaire smiled through tears. "Name them," he said. She raised one finger. "Respect," she said. He nodded. "Time," she added. He nodded again. Listening, she finished. He placed his hand on his heart. "I promise," he said. Mama Ruth stepped closer. She touched the baby's cheek. "He will be tested," she said. "So will you." "I'm ready," the billionaire replied. Mama Ruth smiled gently. "Good," she said, "because love is not quiet." The baby shifted again. A soft sound came from his mouth. Not a cry, a laugh. Everyone froze. The billionaire's breath caught. Mama Ruth laughed softly. "There," she said. "He feels safe." Tears streamed down the billionaire's face. In that moment, he knew this decision was not about saving his child. It was about becoming the father his child needed, and the world would never see him the same way again. Months passed after the flight. Life did not become perfect, but it became real. The baby grew stronger day by day. The crying did not disappear overnight, but it changed. It became softer, shorter, less painful, and Mama Ruth stayed. Not in a big guest room, not as a worker, but as family. The billionaire changed too. He stopped rushing. He stopped flying every week. He learned how to sit, how to hold his child without fear. Mama Ruth walked quietly. Sometimes she corrected him. Sometimes she just smiled. The baby responded. He laughed more. He slept longer. Doctors noticed the change. They asked questions. The billionaire gave simple answers. "Love," he said, and listening. But not everyone understood. People whispered. Media wrote stories. Some called Mama Ruth a saint. Others called her lucky. She ignored them all. One afternoon, the billionaire found Mama Ruth in the garden. She was humming. The baby slept on her chest. "I want to do more," the billionaire said. "More than just us." Mama Ruth looked up. "Then don't make noise," she said. "Make space." Those words stayed with him. Weeks later, the billionaire did something no one expected. He sold one of his private jets. Not for show, not for praise. He used the money to open small care homes. Simple places. For tired parents. For crying babies. For forgotten elders. Mama Ruth helped design them. No cold lights. No rusing. Just calm. Just care. The first center opened quietly. No cameras. No speeches. A young mother walked in with tears. Her baby cried nonstop. Mama Ruth took the baby. Held him. Hummed. The crying slowed. Then stopped. The mother fell to her knees. The billionaire watched from a distance. He did not step forward. He understood now. Some miracles are not meant to be owned. Years passed. The baby grew into a strong little boy. He spoke his first words early. Ma. Not for mother. For Mama Ruth. The billionaire did not correct him. Mama Ruth smiled through tears. One evening, she sat with the billionaire. I won't be here forever, she said gently. He nodded. I know, he replied. But you changed us. She shook her head. You were ready to change, she said. I just showed you where to look. The boy ran toward them, laughing, alive. The billionaire closed his eyes. He remembered the plane, the crying, the fear, the silence, and the woman no one saw. He opened his eyes. Mama Ruth was smiling at the child. That was when he understood the final truth. The richest help does not come from money. It comes from presence, from patience, from people the world ignores. The story spread slowly, not as a headline, but as a whisper. And somewhere, on another plane, a baby cried, and someone listened. Sometimes the miracle you need is sitting right behind you, waiting to be seen.